Your neck pain isn't just due to bad posture, it's actually a physical sign that your mind is rushing into the future. And after years of trying physio and fancy ergonomic pillows, nothing worked except for this simple ancient yoga technique that pretty much set me free and changed everything. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi. And no, this isn't another video where I'm going to give you 10 neck stretches that you're probably going to forget by tomorrow. I'm going to share a powerful technique that didn't just bring me relief from chronic neck pain, it also helped a lot of my students inside my Yoga Mastery program actually learn how to use this technique to slow down their racing minds, and consequently, the neck pain kind of released itself. And there's a link for that in the description below, but you don't have to click. I want you to first just watch this video because I hope that it'll help you apply, some of the principles to your practice from tomorrow. And I promise you, if you understand how this isn't some external fix, but is rather this internal adjustment that costs nothing and pretty much changes everything, then I know you're going to find value from it. So put me on full screen and let's dive right in. So chances are, if you've been suffering from chronic neck pain for years, you've been told that it's just tech neck, or that you're not just like sitting at your desk properly, or you're scrolling on your phone hunched over and that's what's causing the pain. And you've probably tried everything. You've tried going to physio, you've tried massages, and even though these things brought you a little bit of relief, that persistent ache in your back and shoulders somehow, some way just creeps back in every single time. But what if this isn't just a physical problem and it isn't just how you're sitting at your desk all day? Believe it or not, I used to study engineering for 2 years and I quit at 19. But before that, I used to be like hunched over my textbooks, poring over and cramming stuff before my exams. And I just didn't feel that great back then. And I discovered that my own chronic neck pain, the same like forward jutting position that bothered me for years, that wasn't just like physical, it was also deeply connected to the way that I was feeling. It was deeply connected to the fact that my mind was struggling to be like in the present moment, and it was in a constant state of rush. My body was literally trying to keep up with my thoughts, and it was almost like lurching forward into the future that wasn't quite there yet. And I know it left me feeling like strained and exhausted and just feeling meh pretty much all the time. And the tension would radiate from my neck all the way to my shoulders, and sometimes I would have these headaches that would basically ruin my entire day. And I was told that I just had this like forward head posture, and when my head was pushed forward like that and my chin was leading the way, your shoulders round to follow. And because I was like this all the time, I was almost like super self-conscious about this, and I didn't know how to undo it in the present moment because it was my habitual way of functioning. So I tried many things, of course. I tried buying this fancy ergonomic pillow, but I would still wake up feeling stiff. I even tried a funny neck brace. I remember before my exams going to this pharmacy and buying this ugly looking brace, and I strapped myself into this device and noticed that over time this was actually making my neck muscles a lot weaker because the brace was doing all the work. And even though I tried physiotherapy as a college student, I couldn't really afford it, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really work. But the moment I went back to my stressful life, like during exams or like during those stressful periods, I would just feel this pain and it was unbearable. So what I did was I went to a yoga teacher, and she told me I was supposed to like strengthen my back and open up my chest. And I tried all of those things. I was doing a little bit of hatha yoga at this time, and I remember I was just like in pain pretty much all the time, and it felt like I was losing this battle against my body. But I knew for sure that the pain wasn't just physical. It came from this like persistent brain fog, this feeling of being mentally just like drained at the end of the day, and I felt perpetually overwhelmed, and it felt like I was running a race and I could never finish this race. Even though I ended up finishing my exams and doing things, I always felt like this constant state of tension, and this low grade anxiety kind of left me feeling in a state where my body was literally screaming for change. And then one day, I remember I was on the way to a lab, and I was sitting in my little car this time, and I was stuck in traffic, and my stress was just like through the roof. I remember I didn't finish whatever I was supposed to finish. And I felt that familiar sense of like tension just creeping up. I noticed my shoulders were riding up towards my ears. I noticed this sense of like rage that was building in my body. And I knew I had to do something about it, by the way. Like I knew something was up. And it was in that moment when I noticed I was gripping the steering wheel and my head was literally so almost like into the windshield, and my shoulders were riding up to my ears. My jaw was clenched. And I was like, this isn't just like a bad position. I was literally acting out how I felt through my body. I was rushing. I was like physically mimicking how I was feeling in the state of my mind. And I was desperately trying to get ahead, desperately trying to be somewhere else, desperately trying to get out of that state of being this college student and I did not enjoy like being in college at all. So when I dropped out and I did yoga full time, I remember just feeling like the relief that my body got. I'm not recommending that you drop out of college. I'm just saying that your head jutting forward isn't just bad posture. It's a physical expression of your thoughts, and that your thoughts are constantly racing into a moment that isn't here, right now. And for me, it was a sign that my focus, my energy, everything wasn't here in my body in the present moment. And I wasn't even in the driver's seat in that moment. And because of that profound disconnection between my mind and my body, I realized like no amount of going to yoga classes in the morning would ever truly bring that kind of lasting relief that addressed the engine behind it all, which was my racing mind. So I want you to know that there is a powerful link between our mental state and our physical posture. And it often works in this kind of feedback loop. So when our mind races, our body often tends to follow as well. So when you're anxious or you're stressed, what does your body do? Of course, it physically tenses up, right? So your shoulders begin to hunch, your chest might feel a little bit tight, and your head naturally pushes forwards. So this is a primal, protective, fight or flight kind of posture. And the only thing that's different is that the tiger we're facing is a deadline or an inbox thing or something that's in our to-do list, right? So now we need to know that because this physiological response is kind of so ingrained in us, it almost has become surprisingly familiar, but it's more than just like looking awkward and like feeling uncomfortable in that posture. It literally starts to create this cascade of like a internal response. For every inch that your head moves a little bit forward, it's almost like it's adding an extra weight that your muscles of your neck and your shoulders must kind of deal with, right? So think of it like this. Think of it like you're holding a bowling ball. Your head is this bowling ball and you're holding it out in front of you instead of like close to your chest where there's least strain. And that's what your neck and your upper back muscles are literally doing every single day to hold your head up. And because this thing up here is doing all of the thinking, it creates this constant state of strain and it's fighting against gravity to hold this thinking thing up. And this leads to, of course, muscle fatigue, but also chronic pain and stiffness. And I want you to recognize that it isn't just about stiffness. It isn't just about feeling uncomfortable in the body. The problem goes deeper because this strained posture actually restricts your ability to breathe deeply. And so when your chest is collapsed and you're kind of in this state, your shoulders are also hunched and your diaphragm doesn't have like the space to breathe freely, right? So your breathing also becomes shallow. And when your breathing becomes shallow and rapid and it's like only centered high up in the chest, this by itself sends a signal to your brain that it's in a state of distress. So this is the loop that it creates. So basically you have a racing mind, something is happening in your life, and you embody a stressed posture. Now the stressed posture creates this shallow breathing pattern in your body, and the shallow breathing pattern then sends danger signals to your brain, and that creates a stress response which then makes your mind race even faster. Do you get this loop, guys? It's not like just that, okay, I have a racing mind and that's affecting my posture. So you're stuck, you're kind of like, you don't know what to do, and your physical state is creating this low level anxiety, and your anxiety is also cementing your physical state. I don't mean to say this all to like scare you. I'm just saying that even though you have the best of intentions, one of the most important nerves in your body, which is the vagus nerve that's said to like calm you down and like bring you back into a state of rest and digest, it basically runs from the base of your brainstem all the way to your gut. And it could be that when you're in this state of tension, these irritate the vagus nerve, and so it's probably not sending calming signals. And it's almost like having a little bit of a kink in a hose that's supposed to put out a fire, right? So what happens is that issues with this kind of vagal tone have been linked to anxiety and depression and difficulty managing stress. And so what you end up doing is the day before your exam or the day before a stressful meeting, you just end up being more wound up than ever before, and you have no way of breaking this cycle because you don't know where it began. You don't know if your racing mind actually created it or if your posture is creating it. And so what I'm trying to say is that the neck pain that you're feeling is not just about your neck. It's this constant muscle strain that's leaving you foggy, that's leaving you drained and overall overwhelmed. And so this is why things like, oh yeah, let's do 3 common like neck stretches, let's do neck rotations and some stretches isolatedly may not necessarily work to fix the deeper issue. Though it may give you some kind of instant relief, and I do recommend a lot of these stretches myself in my classes, they don't address both the body and the mind. And because they don't address both of these at the same time, it doesn't fully work. So what I'm trying to give you is a technique that not only encourages better alignment, but also teaches your nervous system that it's safe to truly slow down. So how do we break this ingrained cycle? The answer lies in a simple but incredibly powerful technique, and it's so old in the yoga tradition that it's almost funny that I'm giving it to you as a technique, and it is the technique of the Jalandhara Bandha. So the Jalandhara Bandha is basically a chin lock, and now I know lock sounds a bit intense, so let's think of it like a seal, and basically the Jalandhara Bandha is a conscious action of drawing your chin down towards your chest. So imagine you're jutting your chin forward, you're lowering it down, then you're allowing the chin to come into that jugular knot, and then you're pulling it slightly up. So if I were to place my hand behind your head, it should feel like you're resting your head back into my hand. And what this does is it creates a stable structure for your neck. As you know, the neck is kind of like the most mobile part of our bodies, and it's also the weakest, which is why you would have seen, like if you had like a little baby cousin or you've just visited a baby, the parents are constantly holding the neck in position so that, the neck gets stronger over time. But as adults, we don't necessarily do anything to keep strengthening this part of our spine that's super mobile. And so what we need to do is stabilize the shoulders, which are relatively strong and stable, and stabilize the back of the skull, which is also relatively stable and strong, to allow the neck to naturally get stronger over time. And so you're drawing this chin to your chest, and then you're allowing this like prana to flow through behind at the base of your throat. And so physically, this movement, this Jalandhara Bandha, is a direct antidote to that forward head posture. So when you gently draw your chin back, it's also suggesting to your body that you're not reaching forward, you're not moving forward, you're not leaking energy, but rather you're pulling energy back into yourself. And all those chronically tight muscles, those start to slowly like get more used, and all those underused neck flexors in the front start to work. And so this is a kind of retraining, I would say, and it's a rebalancing. And when you go and work with like a physical therapist, or you even work with Chinese medicine, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to work towards your natural alignment of your neck. So if the strain is off your posterior neck muscles, which is the neck muscles in your back, and the front muscles are doing a little bit more of the work to get your chin down, then it's stabilizing your head, that thing that's very heavy and contains all your thoughts and worries. It's stabilizing that thing. But on a neurological level, the Jalandhara Bandha, apparently what it does is it provides a gentle stimulation to the vagus nerve, which I just talked about, but also something called the baroreceptors, which are in the neck, and these sensors kind of help you regulate blood pressure. So the stimulation is kind of thought to have this calming effect when you drop the chin down like that, and also it can slow down your heart rate, which is obviously useful if you want to slow down your mind. And then slowly, when your heart rate slows down, then your mind can begin to quiet and you go into this rest and digest mode. So simply the act of drawing your head back is this physical metaphor that you're drawing your awareness back into the present moment, you're taking back control, and you're literally pulling yourself back into like the state of groundedness away from the state of rushing forward anxiety. And that's the signal that then gets sent to your brain. So when your brain gets this message, it's no longer, oh my gosh, we're unsafe. And it doesn't stop here to just move the chin back, because obviously you might feel like when you do that, it cuts off the breath. And so the yogic texts give us this beautiful, beautiful technique of the Ujjayi breath to pair with this Jalandhara Bandha. And the Ujjayi breath, if you've heard of it before, it's popularly known as the ocean's breath. And the Ujjayi breath just involves a soft constriction at the base of the throat. And this breath makes a sound like the ocean wave, and it's incredibly soothing and it's incredibly effective to kind of gently tone your vagus nerve as well. So the audible feedback that you can hear when you're breathing this Ujjayi breath gives your racing mind something to anchor on, something to hold on to. So it pulls you even deeper back into the present moment, away from the thoughts or the things that are moving you into the future. And so together, this Jalandhara Bandha as well as this Ujjayi breath, this one single tool that you can use for mind-body recalibration. And it's also the foundation of the Ashtanga method. You don't even learn how to move before you can do this effectively. So what you're doing is you're using the physical shape and the conscious breath to communicate directly to the brain and to the nervous system to say you're safe, this is completely okay for you to be in. And for me, this changed everything, because I knew it wasn't just like some temporary fix that I found about like doing some stretches that actually increases the mobility of that part of the neck, when actually what we need to be doing is strengthening that part of the neck. And for me, it retrained my entire being. I cannot tell you how effective this was. But if you want to learn the exact technique and how to apply this into individual postures, there's a link for that in the description below, because inside my program I actually watch you and make sure that you're doing these asanas correctly, because all of these are ancient techniques. You could actually end up injuring yourself or pushing your head far too back. So make sure you have a qualified teacher to watch you while you're doing this. It's not that hard once you learn the technique correctly. It's only like a little bit difficult initially. And the real power of the practice comes from weaving this into your days. So you don't need to like roll out your mat and do a practice for 60 minutes. Whenever you're at your desk and you notice yourself is like, oh my gosh, my head is creeping towards my screen, my shoulders are riding up towards my ears, I notice that just before a meeting my jaw is clenching up, just take a moment, sit a little bit taller, take one deep Ujjayi breath. You just have to gently draw your shoulders down and away, put your chin back, lengthen the back of your neck. Just breathe a couple of times, and I promise you it'll completely calm your nervous system when you learn how to do this correctly. And because this is so portable, you can do this pretty much anywhere. You can use this in a conference hall, you can use this on the train, you can use this anytime. And each time you're doing this, you strengthen the neural pathways that serve you to have better posture during the day, but also to have this mental calm that accompanies this better posture. And you're actively retraining your default state from this place of like stressed, worried, rushed person to actually becoming someone who has a sense of like grounded presence and freedom, in their bodies. And over time, you start to catch yourself faster and faster. And that's when like real change starts to happen. And the chronic pain that you feel in your neck and shoulders, that slowly begins to fade. And it's not just because you did a few stretches or you forced it to go away by putting some neck brace on. It's because you address the key underlying problem. And when you address the key underlying problem, all the stuff on the surface obviously goes away. So what we've learned today is that persistent neck pain, it might just be more than your physical posture, that you have tech neck because you're working at a desk all day. It's the feedback loop that's getting sent to your brain that you're in a state of tension and anxiety. And so the forward jutting posture isn't just the only thing that you need to fix. It's almost like a symptom that you have to be aware of, that your awareness is being pulled into the future, and what you've got to do is bring it back into the present moment and train yourself to do that repeatedly. So now you have a powerful tool to interrupt this cycle. The combination of Jalandhara Bandha and the breath, the Ujjayi breath, is more powerful than any individual stretch. It's a technique for communicating to your nervous system that you're safe, that you're calm, that you can do what you have to do. And it's also a way of bringing your body back into the same place that your mind is, and when you're in the present moment, there's not that much of worry or anxiety, and there isn't that much strain on yourself. So that's all I have for you today. If you are struggling to know if you're doing this technique correctly, and if you want to learn how to practice it within the sequence and have a teacher watch you, there is a link in the description below where you can set up a call with me, and we'll identify the main problems that you're facing. We'll see, which areas of your body where you chronically hold tension. It might not even be your neck and shoulders, and I'm going to help you kind of send the right signals to your brain. But even otherwise, thank you so much for watching till the very end and for your kind attention. If you enjoyed this video, as always, make sure to hit the like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It does really help reach people who might be struggling with the same issue, and share with someone, a friend, a family member, whoever you know, to kind of help them relieve the neck pain or stress that they're going through, because you could give them a tool that goes beyond just 3 neck stretches. So I hope that was useful for you, and if you want more ways to connect to your mind and body, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the YouTube things, because that then tells the algorithm that you want to watch more of my videos. So thank you so much for taking the time for yourself to learn this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.